magical.
Madness.
Happy Coffee Talk Friday.
Coffee Talk Friday, back in the studio.
We are back. Unfortunately, we are not recording this live from Disney World.
No,
I wish that we were.
reality has hit us,
It's hit us hard.
but it feels like it's been a long time since we've been here doing this.
Yes, it kind
Like
of
a couple,
has
2
been.
weeks.
Maybe a little
Because last week we
longer.
were in Disney, and then we doubled up the week before
Mm-hmm.
and just pre-recorded a couple.
Mm-hmm. And if you've been on a Disney vacation, you know that feels like longer than a week.
Yeah.
Because of how much you do inside of it. It feels longer than a week, but also way too short at the same time.
By the end of a vacation, you're like, man, I'm ready to go, but I'm not at the same time.
Yeah.
The not ready does outweigh the I'm ready.
I just feel I'm not.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because today we're going to talk about a Disney topic for a short amount of time. We're going to veer off a little bit from our restaurant today, just while it's all fresh in our minds. We're going to talk about Port Orleans French Quarter.
Yes.
So,
where we stayed.
Yeah, grab your cup of coffee if you're listening to this in the morning. If you're listening to this at night, or like us recording it at night, don't grab your cup of coffee because it's too late.
Yeah, unless caffeine does not affect you.
Yeah, unless you can.
Which is the case. It has for some people it has reverse effects.
Yeah,
It actually makes you sleepy.
I wish that was a thing.
Yeah.
I really enjoy coffee. But we're going to talk all about French Quarter.
Let's do it.
So first I want to just talk about like the vibe of French Quarter. So it is the French Quarter.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I do want to say before we do this, we are going to come out with a video of a resort tour.
Yes, of all of French Quarter.
Yes.
So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be a little bit from now, but
I just wanted to throw that out there so people know.
Yeah. We are going to talk first about the vibe, which is the French Quarter. It's based off the French Quarter in New Orleans. So it's basically all Mardi Gras themed. So the color scheme.
Yeah.
Purples.
Purple, blue.
Purple, green, and yellow are the main colors. And then
okay. There's some blues in there though.
There's some blues, yep. That like very bright, vibrant colors. But like the Mardi Gras colors are mainly the purple and green. Those are the two big colors.
You got
and
the
yellow.
beads and
the
masks.
Yep. And so this is all throughout the resort. And then the actual resort itself, like every Disney resort, they all have highly themed areas, like and highly themed throughout the entire property. It's all basically the streets of New Orleans, like downtown New Orleans. You have like the actual sidewalks are streets.
Yep.
They have street like
brick
manholes. They have they have sidewalks and then like a road and then another sidewalks, and they have street signs and like very like the buildings themselves are also like very bright colored, and then they have like the railing that you would in New Orleans, like I don't know what that'd be called, but like the balconies that the New Orleans buildings have, like downtown, like that is how the resort is set up.
I mean, Disney's very good at matching whatever area they're trying to hit.
Yeah, for sure.
Geographical location.
Yeah. It's really cool. So walking into the resort, you're first going to get like that French Quarter feel, with like the indoor, almost like a greenhouse feel, in their lobby. And so they have like that lobby area. They have this beautiful mural in like where you would go to like get your room, like ask about your room.
Yeah.
That area
Customer
of the
service.
lobby. Yeah. That area has like this beautiful mural that is all like Mardi Gras themed.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you have Scat Cats.
Yep.
So let's just get into it.
Let's do it.
Beignets.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Everyone comes here.
As soon as you walk in the front doors, you look to your left, and there's where you get your beignets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a resort that a lot of people visit and not very many people stay just because there's not as many rooms here.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people come to this resort just because of the beignets.
Yeah, and it's easy to get to, especially for just people that aren't even staying at Disney, because you have that. You can get there easy from Springs, which we can get to in a little bit.
Yeah.
But it is easy to get to.
Yes. So we'll talk about food first and then transportation and then kind of talk a little bit about like room and stuff if we have time. But they have the beignets, which are great.
Mhm.
You can if you're gluten free, you can get gluten free ones, and we've talked about that before, but this is where you would get them.
Yeah.
This is called Scat Cats. They have the cafe, which is like where you get the beignets, and they also have Scat Cats Lounge, which is like the bar area of this, but they also do live jazz music here on the weekends. So at night, if you're there on the weekends, you can experience kind of more like a jazz club vibe.
Very New Orleans type
Yeah.
type thing. And that's another thing I really like about this resort is just the music.
Oh yes.
The trumpets and like the Louis Armstrong vibe of music
The whole time.
the whole entire time.
Everywhere that you go, it's just playing in the background, which
Yep.
is super nice. And then when you walk into your room, it's also playing on your TV.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
just love that.
It was awesome.
And then next you have this Sasagula
Yep.
Float Works, I think is what their like the cafeteria is called there.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the food area.
Yep.
Pretty sure that's what it's called. But
It is Sasagula something because
it's Sasagula
that's
for
what it
sure.
would say on the purchase.
Yes. I think it's
Sasagula
called
something.
I think it's Float Works is
Okay.
the next two. But that's like your cafeteria area. This is like quick service basically. They don't have a sit down restaurant here.
Correct.
Which this is the only moderate that doesn't have a sit down restaurant, but it's technically like a sister resort with Riverside, so Riverside has a sit down, so I think they just consider that one
Yeah,
their sit down because
Yeah.
it's so close.
that would make sense.
But this is a very good quick service.
Yeah, it's great.
I think this is like a top. Everything we got here was top tier.
Yeah.
We had mostly breakfast.
Yep.
But one thing that I liked, and I think you can get it at some of the other resorts, but not all of them, unless this is a new normal thing. But they have a bagel sandwich, which I think is an incredible deal for how much food you get.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
We got it a few times, didn't we?
yeah, I think it was $9 for like a bagel, egg and cheese, bacon sandwich, and tater tots.
Yeah.
Like, which both of those together and it's a decent amount of both.
I
Like,
couldn't eat all of it.
no, and like I couldn't either. That's like a good deal there.
Yeah.
So like both of us eating for under $20 for breakfast, and we're pretty full for most of
Not bad.
like until dinner.
Yeah.
We're pretty good. And then they also have really good like lunch and dinner options too. They have things like jambalaya, I'm pretty sure, or did they have gumbo? It was one of the two.
One of those two.
It was one of the two were there. They didn't have both. Because I think Riverside had the other one, if
Okay.
I'm thinking right. Because I looked at that menu too. But they had one of those, and then they also had something I got was like they had like a marinated chicken, largest half chicken thing that I've ever
Yeah.
seen. But you get like mashed potatoes, and
Asparagus or something, right?
it was broccolini.
Oh, broccoli.
Love broccolini. But they had like your traditional like rice and red beans, which is very Louisiana. It was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of different unique things, but also you can get your cheeseburger.
Yeah,
you know?
they still have your classic
cheeseburger
stuff you would
pizza.
expect at a resort.
Yeah.
Food court or whatever type thing. But yeah, they do. I feel like each resort does have food that's specific to their
Yeah.
resort and their vibe.
But I really liked what it looked like
Mhm.
in there.
Yeah.
Like you didn't step outside of the Mardi Gras theme at all, which that's like that for all of Disney resorts. Usually, the cafeteria is gonna match,
Mm-hmm.
but I really like that vibe at that.
The one thing I I really only have one complaint about the cafeteria, and that it is on the smaller side.
Yeah.
There was one morning where basically there wasn't a table, and we were trying to figure out where to sit. So I don't think you're gonna run into that like all the time, but if you hit the right time, it's a smaller cafeteria because it's a smaller resort.
Yeah.
But because of that, there's less tables.
Yeah.
So that could be an issue you run into.
It's funny because
But it was only one time we had that.
Yeah, we stayed there for a week, and we went in probably two times. Nobody in there.
Yeah.
Like we're the only people.
Yep.
And then we go in a couple times in the morning. If you go, it seems like if you go early, like, but if you're going there before the parks, you're gonna get a table fine. But if you go there any later, like I think it was around 9 o'clock that we went there. That was when we were like, there's nowhere to sit.
Yeah.
We finally were able to get a table, and then it wasn't like a great table, so then we had to wait for somebody else to leave. So it was just like one of those waiting games. Whereas like one of the other, like you go to the value resorts, they have huge cafeterias, so
Huge.
you don't have that problem.
Right.
So
But this one, yeah, that is a potential. So watch the time of day you go.
yeah. So then more about this resort. There is alligators that are dressed up like they're a part of a band, and that's fun to take pictures by.
Yeah, these are statues though. They're not
They're
real.
statues.
They're not real people.
Well,
Yeah.
So, and if you go towards those alligators, there's a playground, there's a hot tub, which like cool that there's a hot tub, and then you go to a super cool pool. I loved this pool. There's a cool jester outside of the pool that's like dancing. It's a statue.
Yeah.
And then you go in there and there's like a huge serpent that's like has like this trident guy that's on top
Yep.
of there, and
And
that's their water
The
slide.
tongue of the serpent is the slide. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like it was a very crowded pool. We also went when it was very hot, so all of these pools are gonna get
Massive
crowded.
heat wave was coming in when we were there.
Yeah, that's just how pools are
Yep.
at Disney when it's hot.
Yeah.
But it wasn't overly crowded where I didn't feel comfortable enough hanging out in the pool. We were not getting splashed by a bunch of kids. You had like your own little section. There was plenty of room for everybody to play and play in the pool. And they did do like some afternoon games there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yep.
For that. So pool, great. Very good theming in there.
Yeah.
And it's very colorful, and I feel like there's a lot to look at. So it's definitely like if you're thinking about the most kid part of this resort,
It'd be the pool.
it's the pool
For sure.
For sure. The other parts of it, I don't feel like as kid. It's not like Disney in your face.
Mm-hmm.
It's more New Orleans in your face.
Right.
But the pool definitely feels like
It's
very
more of
fun.
like subtle hints of Disney as opposed to some of your other resorts where they're
Yes, very like very
giant
much
Disney characters,
Yeah.
statues. There's none of that really.
But when you go into your room, let's talk about transportation first.
Sure.
This resort is only bus transportation, except it has a boat
Yes.
to go to Disney Springs.
Which I think was my favorite part of this resort.
Yes.
We used it a lot. We went to spring every off day we were there, sometimes multiple times, and it just made it so easy.
Yes.
It's like a 15-minute boat ride.
Yeah.
But it's relaxing. You're on the water. Like,
Yeah.
who cares? I could have done it for 20, 25 minutes. It would
But
have been easy.
15 minutes, it might not be as quick as the bus, but
Mhm.
I think this boat comes quicker than the bus.
The weights,
Like
yeah.
this boat, these boats, there's multiple boats just going back and forth, and French Quarter, like specifically French Quarter shares like Riverside's boats too. So usually you can usually get on the
French Quarter
Riverside
gets the
one.
better end of the stick when it comes to these boats.
Because
so-
that's the first stop.
Yep.
And then it would be the last stop on the Riverside boat
Mhm.
before you go into Disney Springs. So I mean, it's coming frequently. I think we waited 5 minutes. Like, it's an awesome boat. If you go to Disney Springs a lot, this is a resort for you.
It really
Especially
is.
like if you don't want to spend like a hefty price like you would at like Saratoga or Old Key West. You want to spend more of a moderate price. This is the spot.
And the bus rides are quick because you're already close to Springs anyway.
Yeah.
And it's and like if you want AC on your ride, you just take the bus.
Yeah.
But the boat ride at night was cool. The only time we waited a lot, like for an extended period of time, was
Coming back
like
from Springs.
maybe 2 times. But yes, it was coming back from Springs because you're on that dock.
There's a lot more
there's
people.
a lot of people lining up, but a lot of those people too are going on. They're going to either the French Quarter, Riverside, or what was the other one?
There's a boat for Saratoga and
Saratoga.
Old Key West.
Old Key West, yeah.
So it just
So
kind
not
of
all
gets.
of them are going to your
but
place.
you kind of wait for the boat to be able to dock because there's 4 different places that are leaving. You kind of wait a little bit longer.
Right.
That's why it takes longer too.
But we wait. There was a time I think we waited probably close to 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was a little bit longer, and that was later in the day. Like,
Mhm.
it's definitely depends on the time of the day. There's also
And the
time
day.
where we walked.
Yeah.
Right
Yep.
on.
Most of the
So-
time it was quick though.
Yeah.
So that part of the resort is fantastic.
Yep. So that's basically all this resort has to offer. It does have a beautiful walking trail,
Yes.
but this walking trail is mostly gonna lead you, it's just gonna lead you to Riverside, which if you like to walk or run, this is an awesome
yeah.
trail.
We saw lots of runners in the mornings.
Yeah, just to see something else, see a change of scenery. You can walk. You're walking right by the river,
Yeah.
and then you walk over to Riverside, which is more of a Louisiana
Mm-hmm.
vibe resort. So, kind of get a little bit of both worlds, but definitely Louisiana vibe, especially with the river being right there.
And we looked out with our room being on the river.
Yes. Yep. So that's just a little bit about French Quarter. I think the rooms are all standard rooms. Like they're either the 2 queen beds and there's no suites here, basically.
Yeah.
It's just a room. So if that's what you're looking for, that's
Yeah.
what you get. And it's all like they're all themed to Princess and the Frog. So if you're a Princess and the Frog fan or like you have kids that are, the room definitely you get that vibe in there. There's pictures up that have Princess Tiana on it, and like you'll get that in that room too.
Yep. Definitely.
So
Yeah. It was my favorite resort that we've stayed at thus far.
me too.
And I think it's going to be that for a little while.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if something tops it.
Yeah.
I think there's only one that could top it for me.
Yeah.
But that was it. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. And we will be back next Monday for a regular episode.
This coming Monday.
Monday, yes. Monday, probably breaking down we'll probably talk a little bit more about French Quarter in our full episode on Monday.
Yeah.
But this is just about French Quarter.
Yeah. Monday will be kind of a trip overview, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Try and fit all that in
Yeah.
45 minutes, 50 minutes. We'll see. It could be a little longer. Who knows?
Yep. So thank you so much for watching, and you can follow us on social media if you'd like, and we'll be back on YouTube Monday.
Monday. Yeah. Like and subscribe. Listen to us. Watch us. And we appreciate it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.